Now the next thing you can speak on this a little bit, Zach. But you know we talked about the school shooting last week in the Oxford High School. Did you see where they have arrested the mom and dad and they're in jail now?
No, I did not see that.
Yeah, so they had a manhunt for them last Friday.
For the parents?
Yeah, for the parents.
Oh, damn.
Well, I think I have the article up. So, I'm going to read the article here, and then I'll get into my thoughts on this. And this is New York Post as of yesterday, or New York Times as of yesterday. In a tense arraignment on Saturday morning, James and Jennifer Crumbley listened by video conference from separate jail cells as they were charged with involuntary manslaughter in the fatal shootings of the Oxford High School students, who the police say were gunned down by the couple's 15-year-old son, Ethan. As the judge read each of the charges, one for each of the 4 students, she asked Miss Crumbley if she understood. I understand, Miss Crumbley said tearfully. The arraignment, where the couple entered pleas of not guilty, capped an extraordinary day and a half. Wow, my reading is bad. Which the Crumbleys, considered fugitives by the authorities, were captured in Detroit after an intense manhunt and then placed in the same jail facility in Oakland County, Michigan, that held their son, with each of the 3 in isolation. The arrest and the arraignment, along with other information that emerged on Saturday, only began to answer some of the questions about who the Crumbleys are, how they got to this moment, and what could have prevented the tragedy at Oxford High School. Suspicions of the Crumbleys' culpability in the shootings intensified Saturday as details about their apparent attempts to evade law enforcement were revealed. The manhunt ended with their arrest around 1:30 a.m. Saturday. After the authorities received a tip on the couple's location, the Crumbleys were found inside an art studio in a warehouse in Detroit, according to Sheriff Michael Bouchard. But I'm trying to get... So basically they said that they were running away, which they may have been, right? What I originally heard was that the parents had fled right after the school shooting because for safety purposes. Because, you know, people knew who did the shooting, knew that it was their son, and so they left. And that they were either with their attorney, I don't know, but they were coming back. Now, with this manslaughter charge, so just a few of the facts that I saw. They bought this kid the gun the Friday before. Was it a Monday or a Tuesday that the school shooting happened? They bought the kid the gun on Friday. Okay? The kid posted a picture of the gun on social media saying, look at this, my new beauty, or something like that. And it's a 9mm Glock handgun. Or 6-hour handgun. And what they're saying is that they basically helped this kid commit the school shooting. Now, this kid, Ethan, whatever the last names were, he had issues. He was painting pictures or drawing pictures of, him shooting people or people being shot and saying, help me, or please, stop me from doing this, blah, blah, blah. Like he had issues, okay, leading up into this. Mm-hmm. The parents were called into the school either that same day. So the only crazy lady... Okay, so I'm about to get into that. What you just said. So she commented, the rifle I can see for hunting, but a handgun, I don't think so. I'm going to get into that in a second. But the parents were called into the school either the day before or that same day to talk about the son. And they ended up, saying, no, we want the son to stay in school. I don't know if he was about to get suspended or whatever. They said, no, we want him in school. So they lobbied to have him stay in school. And the principal, determined that there was no reason to punish him for whatever it was. Well, hold on. We don't know what was going on. I don't think they said what the issue was that they got called into the school. He was just having issues, okay? He probably getting picked on. I guarantee you that's a lot of it. Probably had issues at home too. Like that, you know. Now, going back to the comment. Now they're being charged with manslaughter. We're going, and only crazy lady. I get what you're saying about why would a parent buy a child a handgun. Now, from what I have read, they bought the kid a handgun for Christmas, but they didn't let him have possession of that gun. The parents were keeping that in their room, so it was almost like, this is yours, but we're holding on to this. That's kind of the same thing as if they just bought it for themselves. The parents. There's a lot of households in the United States that own a pistol that the parents keep in their room. I have to speak from experience on this. When it comes to buying guns, my grandfather owned a lot of firearms. And he bought me and my cousins a lot of guns when we were growing up. A lot of the guns he bought, he said, hey, these are yours. We go out and we shoot them. But he would keep them in his possession. Especially when we were growing up, right? Because there's no reason for a child, especially at 15, to be in possession of the firearm. So I do agree with you, but at the same time, only crazy lady, it's not a big deal for someone to go out and buy their child a firearm. It's more so what is the process of that you're going through after you buy the firearm. So if you're letting the kid keep it in his room and actually like, hey, it's yours, here's full authority with the firearm, yes, then that's their fault 100%, and we have a big problem. But just buying a gun for a kid, a pistol or a rifle, whatever, but he doesn't have any control over that firearm, you're just, it's yours when you turn 21 or whatever, but, it's ours until then, basically. You can't, I don't see, we're going down a dangerous road if we're going to start charging, parents for their kid going and doing something like that. Exactly.
I was about to say, and to Mr. A's point there, I mean, my parents were the same way. I mean, we had guns in the house, but there was a safe, and my dad knew the combination. And if I ever wanted to use one, see one, show it to a friend, whatever it may be, I had to ask because I didn't know what the password was or what the code was. It's all about gun safety, gun knowledge, gun responsibility. I mean, all that stuff.
Yes, it is. And we have talked about this extensively, especially in the past, maybe ever since Kyle Rittenhouse trial, about guns. That's been a big part of the show. And it'll probably continue to be a big part of the show just because of how I grew up and how Zach grew up and the things that we like to do. And all the crazy occurrences that happen in our society. But if the parents knew that the kid had a mental issue and was getting bullied and was thinking about doing something like this, and then they went and bought the gun for him and took him shooting and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, then I can see us, okay, we need to look into this. But if they didn't have any idea and they just went and bought the gun because, the family likes having guns, and they, the mom took them shooting that weekend after they bought it, which isn't a big deal. That's normal. And then the parents learn, oh, now he's got issues. I don't see why we would charge. And then the other thing is they're going to charge this kid as an adult. So we're going to charge. So now we're going to put the parents in jail for something that an adult did. We're going down a slippery slope by charging the parents with manslaughter. Again, if they knew that he had a mental problem before they went and bought the gun, then I'm fine with us pursuing an investigation on them and how that played into the shooting. Now, the only crazy lady says, my dad had weapons around the house. He had a firearm in each room in the house, not in plain sight. And you probably knew, growing up, that you weren't supposed to touch those guns. Because that's how I grew up. We talked about this. We had a strict rule. If I knew what the consequences were if I ever got caught touching any firearm that I wasn't allowed to touch. But just buying a gun for someone, that's not a big deal. That happens all the time, especially for a child. A pistol, an AR-15, a rifle, whatever. It's all about what was the processes that they had in place at the house afterwards. And what was the reasoning to buying the gun? Because now you have to determine, did the parents know that he was willing to do something like this? And they went and bought the gun for maybe the sake that he would need to use it? Now we have a problem. Now we have a huge problem. And that could be how this played out. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see what evidence comes out. But if they didn't know anything, then I think it's wrong to charge them. And we're just going to go down a big slippery slope with this. And, what do you think, Zach? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I agree with you. I think you're starting to step into the realm of the what ifs. Like, what if the parents did do that? What if they would have done this instead? What if? I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I mean, I agree that as an adult, as a parent of a child, regardless if you know if your child's having issues or not, you definitely, if you have a firearm in the house, one, everybody should know. Everybody should understand the rules. Everybody should be aware of where it's located. Now, as far as the children being able to have access to it, I don't agree with that per se. Because normally kids aren't home alone. And if they are, there's, normally a babysitter, yada, yada, whatever. So I think that in this situation was a failure on the parents' part. That I don't know how you address that. I really don't. I don't know if you penalize somebody that badly.
Well, they're being held each on a $500,000 bond. Here's my other problem with this too now. We're getting into a justice system that wants to take revenge on someone immediately the day after an incident happens without any details. They did this with Kyle Rittenhouse, and he had to sit in jail for 83 days or something, 87 days. And he shouldn't even have been on trial. He should have never went to jail, period. But they went and charged him with murder literally the next morning. They charged him with 2 counts of murder. And they didn't even have an investigation. You can't do that. And they're doing it now because people are upset about the shooting. And I get it. I 100% agree. Like, this is crazy that we have these kids shooting up schools. But yeah. To go and arrest the parents because they bought them the gun and charge them with manslaughter and hold them on a $500,000 bond. We weren't even holding the guy that ran the car into Kenosha, the Kenosha parade. He was on a $1,000 bond, and he was on bond for literally running his girlfriend or wife over with a fucking car for doing the same thing. And I've said this, when you list your bond, they look at a few different factors. Are you a violent criminal? What's your criminal record? Are you a flight risk? Things like that. Well, the parents, I think the mom has like a few misdemeanors and they each have like a DUI and that's it. Not DUIs are bad, but I'm just saying compared to the other guy that was a registered sex offender, a freaking, very violent criminal, just ran someone over with his car previously and was out. He got a $1,000 bond and he went and killed 8 people. Like directly killed 8 people. And now the parents here are on $500,000 bonds because, and I get, they were flight risks, they ran away, but things aren't even here. But to go and just say, we're going to charge them with manslaughter on each account for something that their son did, and their son's being tried as an adult. And I pulled up an article here, And it says, what prosecutors say about the parents' involvement. The Crumbleys were each charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter after the events of November 30th when authorities say their 15-year-old son Ethan fatally shot 4 people. In a news conference Friday, prosecutors said James Crumbley had purchased the gun used in the shooting, a 6-hour 9mm pistol, on Black Friday as an early Christmas gift for his son. And that's the other thing, too. Like, they bought it on a day that a lot of people are buying guns. Like, this isn't like an out-of-the-ordinary purchase.
Mm-hmm.
And it says that prosecutors said Crumbley stored the gun unlocked in a drawer in their bedroom, a characterization that defense lawyers disputed Saturday after the purchase. But before the shooting, school authorities twice raised concerns about Ethan's behavior to his parents. Prosecutors said, including in a meeting with them earlier that Tuesday. So they went and met with the school that morning, and the kid would have had the gun on him at that point. They didn't check him. Mm-hmm. They want to get mad at the school for not checking him about a firearm. Like, do you just? But then again, he was drawing pictures of people being shot. So would that, justify searching the kid's backpack to see if he has the gun? I don't know. So Mr. A says if he's charged as an adult, then the parents can most likely be charged with accomplice to murder. My dad was also battle scarred. I'm just reading the comments. I can't give an opinion because I don't know all the facts. Yes. Yep. They look at all that stuff for bond and even sentences. Whoa. Okay, so I have a friend who did time for manslaughter because her daughter drove drunk and wrecked her car, killing a passenger. And was she the one that provided the alcohol, I'm assuming? I would imagine she was underage and... No. Then how did she get manslaughter? How does that happen? And going back to Mr. A's point, if the kid is an adult, then he acts as an adult. I don't know what the law is, but I imagine this is what the defense is going to argue. For the parents, at least. Because it was her car? Was the mom in the car too? What's up, revolutionary bro? What's going on? Oh my gosh. So that's California. That's crazy. But going back to Mr. A's comment about what I think the defense will probably end up arguing is, if you're going to charge him as an adult, then he acts as an adult. Then the parents don't necessarily control his intentions. I don't know. I imagine that's going to be somewhere in the argument. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. He's 15, right? He's being charged as an adult because he committed a mass murder. So it's kind of, he's a matter of circumstance there. But, oh my God, 2 years because her daughter wrecked her car and was drunk. That's wild. See, that, and I have a problem, but again, if the parents knew that the kid was mental prior, like drawing these pictures of shooting people and was mental prior to him getting the gun, then yes, let's investigate the manslaughter charges. But just buying someone a gun on Black Friday and you're keeping it in your room as the parent in a drawer, and the kid decides to go in there and steal the firearm out of the parent's room and go commit a school shooting, I don't like the road that we're going down with that. I don't. Because now every time something happens with a firearm, they're going to be looking not to just charge the person that committed the crime, but anyone that he even knows that lives in the same house. And I don't think that's right. I'll be curious to see where this goes. But we'll see. We'll see. It's a weird It's a weird thing. And, but it does all go back to why did he do it in the first place? Why are these kids so screwed up in the head that they're willing to go and kill their classmates? Well, a lot of it probably derives from home. I guarantee you they had issues going on at home that fed into it. And then he was getting picked on at school probably. And had issues at school. And, we want to look at the firearm. It's not the firearm's fault. It's not the firearm's fault. There's other reasons for why he went and killed his classmates. If he didn't do it with a gun, he would have done it some other way. That's just a matter of fact. If someone wants to hurt someone or kill someone, they're going to find a way to do it. Just like the Taliban, or not the Taliban, but Al-Qaeda found out how to kill 3,000 Americans with airplanes. Not one firearm was used in that process. Maybe to hijack the planes. I'm not sure. But not one firearm dysfunctionality. Yeah. Revolutionary, bro. Now, one firearm was used on 9/11. So they're going to find a way.